So we're doing Francois Tardieu's book, Backgammon Strategic Concepts. And he's got a lot of nice problems. We're doing the last couple of problems on his top, chapter, Should You Leave the Advanced Anchor? And remind you what he has said, the factors are, which it's interesting to me that he goes to the trouble of listing these factors and then mostly ignores them in the problems that he gives. Um, which is because he's got some difficult problems. But in any case, race is the dominant factor. You're generally not going to want to leave your anchor if you're up ahead in the race. Relative strengths if you're in a board, contact favors planning with a better structure. So you're not going to, if you don't have the better board, you're probably not going to want to leave your anchor and risk getting hit. The danger of being hit, especially if your opponents are stripped in front of you, or they're masked. I guess masked in front of this anchor is what he meant. So if you're going to get pounded, maybe you should not give your opponent the opportunity to pound you. Flexibility of position, your opponent's flexibility, and this is the one about strip points. So if your opponent is stripped in front of you, what he'd really like to do is to hit you so that he can start breaking his strip points to bring him around. Some other things came up that others have, I noticed, do you have the safe place to put your anchor when you're breaking it? So if you're going to take it out and leave two blots, that's probably not the best idea unless there's no other choice. And, as your position improving or deteriorating, that's kind of going with flexibility. And are you going to run out of time and be forced to make an awkward play? So that was that. So we have two, this is the one, two of the last problems for this chapter. And he only did 11 chapters. I'm sorry, 11 problems. So I've added a couple from a Bill Roberti book just to finish out this chapter. And then we'll go on to the next chapter. But here we've got a 5-2 to play. And what do you think the answer is? Do we realize? So it's really a question. Do we run out, which we can here, since we have a 5, or do we do something else? We can break the 8-point, or we can do something like 6-1, 3-1. Any suggestions? Any ideas on that?
Well, his first criteria is the race, and we are up in the race. I think we're going to run out of time if we don't run, and we need to control the outfield because Black can jump out pretty easily.
Yeah.
So I would run.
Yeah. That's a good point. If we don't come out here, Black can just come out. If we don't come out, Black can just pop out with any 4 or better and not be under any pressure. And then if we try to pop out afterwards, unless we get a double 5s, obviously if we get double 5s, we're in great shape. But unless we do get the double 5s, now we're going to be subject to probably a double shot in the outfield in addition to the triple shot inside. So it's kind of like it's now or never. At this point, we still have, Black's board is actually a little bit better, but ours is not that bad either. It's a 4-point versus 4-point. But we're about to give up something soon. If we don't, as Black can just pop out and keep his entire structure. So all that points to coming out now. So let's see, his summary on this one says, during a priming battle, waiting passively for a miracle roll is a losing strategy over the long term. Stay sharp and look out for tactical opportunities to take the upper hand. So, we're in jeopardy here. In fact, we're not actually favored in this situation, 37% to 63. But if not now, when? If we wait. The only safe move we have is double 5, so we can wait around for that. But how much longer are we going to wait for that? And how likely are we're going to get that in the next 4 or 5 rolls? The answer is probably not. So come out now. So this one. What do we think of this one? We are. So, I mean, two plays you have are we could make probably the 4-point is one, or we come out and hit. Those are probably the only two reasonable plays to make. What do we do here?
Wouldn't you come out and hit because your opponent only has one spot made in his board? And so if he hits you again, you could easily come back in.
Yeah, but we only have one made either.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about Tardieu, but this kind of fits into Mochi and also Roberti's comments is when you have an advanced anchor, you have an asset.
Yeah.
And and when the opponent doesn't. And if you have an asset, don't give it up unless you really need to.
Yeah.
So I would not leave for that reason. I'd make the 4-point.
Yeah.
But you're ahead in the race also.
Yeah.
That's true.
So why not race?
Yeah, those are good points. That's what makes this a little bit difficult. And as if we go back to these points, I don't think these help very much, but we'll go through them anyway. Race is the dominant factor. We're up in the race, so that would tell us, okay, break the anchor, let's race, particularly when we can hit. Regular strengths of the boards and primes, well, that we both have nothing, so that doesn't help much. Danger of being hit. We're likely to get hit. Because that's all that black can do pretty much. He'll come in and then if he hit us, we'll do it off, and that's off the 5-point. The flexibility, well, we're not really very flexible here. I guess if we hit, we're a little bit better, but so none of these help actually with deciding what to do here. But the answer was, I think Joe gave a pretty good explanation, is that it is making the point. And what's often true in the Tardieu positions is that it's often the long-term structural advantage you get often overrides things. So, you can make the strong 4-point, and after this roll, you have your defensive 5-point and the 4-point. And so that's a strong tactical position. Whereas here, you have your 9-point, and that's something, but you've given up your 5-point and you haven't made an inner board point. And so yes, this is all out for the race, and we are way up in the race. So there's that. So it's not terrible. We're still favored to win, but is it the best play? And the answer is no. So here's a case with kind of the exception of when you're ahead in the race, and when you're not, don't. So here we're ahead in the race, and we can get even farther ahead. I hitting black, but we've given up a lot of our structure. We've given up the 5-point, and we haven't added a point that we could have made. So that's keep in mind too that there's also the 5-point. There's the rule if you're going to if you're going to not make the 5-point, you need to do two very strong things, and 2 or 3 actually. And here, okay, you've hit your opponent, and you've gotten farther up in the race, and that's something, but it's really not enough. And it's not. I wouldn't say that this is intuitively easy to see, but by going over these positions, you sort of get that this is why we go over these positions, so that you can recognize these types of things and store them in your memory, I guess. One thing that, so here we're breaking the 5-point and not making the 4. what if we just had the 4-point and had the 6-5 to play? Now we can hit and break a weaker point. The 4-point is weaker than the 5-point, so we'll give up the 4 points sooner than the 5-point. But also on the offensive side, okay, now we're going to make the 3-point. Well, the 4-point is stronger than the 3-point, so we'd rather have the 4-point to the 3-point. So now we're giving up a weaker point, and if we hit, we're giving up the weaker point. And if we don't hit, we're making a weaker point.
Well, you can't hit with a 6-5, you can hit with a 6-4.
Oh. Did I
Move 11 back to 10.
that's what I meant to do. Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Charlie, for pointing that out. And so how do you think that is that going to change things?
Yeah, I think that makes hitting, it makes it better.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, for the reasons that I said, we're giving up a weaker point,
Mm-hmm.
and
And he only has 2s and 4s to hit your blot on the 21, whereas before
Right.
he had 1s, 3s, and 6s.
yeah, yes.
And we're making an inferior point, the 3
And we're
point.
making, yeah. Do you give up the 4-point? And the 4-point is a strong point too. It's not the 5, but it's a strong point. So yeah, the answer is that all those things point to, okay, now you run. The structural advantages that you gain by making, say, this point aren't as great.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Just-
interesting to see those 2 positions back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just looking at this one, this is where you wouldn't hit. Even here, this isn't so bad, even though you're not hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you're giving up the weaker point. Well, for the same reasons, you're giving up the weaker point. You're going to make a weaker point if you don't hit, and then you're not under the same level of attack as you were prior.
Mm-hmm.
So, those are good positions to kind of get a sense for when it is, because a lot of the rules of thumb, like the one Charlie mentioned, in the race where you had in race, they're generally right, except when they're not right, and so you have to kind of get a sense of when they're not right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that was actually the last of the examples from the book. There are a couple more that I would have liked him to talk about. One is a play like this,
Mm-hmm.
where you have an option here that's sometimes correct, and the option is going out here. And so typically you're going to break the point, or you're going to break your 6-point or something like that. But now you have the option to do that. And sometimes this is correct to do that. Does anyone think that's right here? And why?
Mm.
Well, losing the race, I wouldn't.
So, Gary,
Yeah.
so I think you want to keep your men on the 20 point because they're guarding that outfield.
Yeah. Well, okay, so you would, but the play would be to come out here. So you still have this guy, but so the question is that worth it?
Not to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so this isn't clear out. So the answer is that it's not. You're gonna break the 8 point and you need black his board is too strong. So yeah, I asked questions, well, when would it be? And so, what if black has this to play? And the answer here is no, it's not the right play here. It's a blunder to come out. Yeah, here it is. And what if black has this? Well, and maybe it's because black now has a 5 point board. If he rolls a 1, he's going to hit you, and that could be the end of that. So what
Well,
if black doesn't have that?
plus we are behind in the race by so much.
Yeah,
It's counter thematic to run.
yeah, 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 and that's a big part of it. Now it's the second best play. But what if we are even farther behind in the race? Black is here. Now it's still right to not well, now this should be easier to do.
So when would you come out?
Yeah, so the answer, yeah,
The
this
miniature
one.
was never.
Now we're getting closer. Still not right. Actually, let's put these away. And so now we're getting closer. So the answer is when black, first of all, when you don't have a safer play otherwise, so your board is cracking, and when black has cracked his board, or is beginning to crack his board, and that's when you start considering that. I think it's even bigger here. Actually, here it's not. It's right to come out and challenge black. But if you had this where you don't, he doesn't have the blot, it's still right to challenge. So I guess the answer I get when black has started to crack his board, that's when you begin to think about that. Let's look at that one. Now black is really cracked. And here you're not even coming out. You're going out there and daring him to hit you. And this is actually the 2 maybe because you can cover this. So let's say you can't cover that. Yeah, now it's now forget the challenge because you're actually not trying to challenge him. You're covering your blot. But when you can't cover the blot, then it's play safe. And the advantage of this play, is pretty clear. What's the race? Yeah, we're way down in the race, so we have to hit. But now we've given ourselves more chances to hit. So black rolls a 6-1, say. Now we've got 8s and 1s to hit, or 6-2. He's going to have to hit us, directly, which gives us. I guess it doesn't give us extra shots because it'll be on the 5 point, but we'll have 5s in the 4-1 and a 5-1 is a double hit. But something like a 6-3 gives us 8s and 1s. So instead of having 11 shots, we'll have 6 more. So we'll have 17. So that's an unusual case where you're going to break your anchor when you're way behind in the race, and the idea is to give yourself more chances at contact than you're going to get otherwise, because your only chance here is to get the contact. If we don't hit him, we're not going to win because we're too far behind in the race. Okay, so that's one that I kind of thought he should have covered. Just for a few more, I found some of you may be familiar with Bill Roberti's book, 501 Essential Backgammon Problems, which is a nice book. He gives a lot of problems with explanations. And so I pulled out a few of those and see if we can apply what we've learned from the Tardieu book here. So what do we think of this position? So just to apply the principles. Put them up over here. So you can see it. The race is a dominant factor. We're way up in the race here. Looks like we rolled double sixes to begin or something like that. And maybe, black rolled 6-5 twice or something like that. But anyway, black has escaped his checkers. But we're up 15 in the race. Strength of the inner boards. We have a stronger inner board, but it's not overwhelming. Danger being hit. Some danger, but black has a blot, so not a lot. Flexibility of position. Yeah, we're not really very flexible here. It's kind of like we can sort of sit around and wait for doubles to pull us out, or we can pop out safely one and be left with a single shot. Your opponent's flexibility. Black is reasonably flexible. He's got 7 spares here, so anything but a 6-1, he's going to be able to play safely someplace. So what do we think about this one?
Well, if we don't run, black is just going to keep getting stronger and stronger in the inner board, and we may regret not running.
Yeah.
I would move from 18 point before he made his board.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the idea here. So and that is the correct move here. Is to now we're going to break. We've got the lead. Let's take the chance now before his board strengthens. Let's look at what if his board were stronger. Now he's got a 3-point board. We're less likely. In fact, it's wrong. Yes, looks like a blunder to do this. Where's the move? 13, 6, 13. No, where's the 18s? 18. Yeah, anyway, these are huge blunders now with the 3-point board. Now, what if there wasn't the blot there? How's that? And that's, now it's still wrong. So the blot is kind of key here. Let's look at a weaker board with no blot. Now it's still wrong. Yeah, the breaking is, where is it? I didn't see the actual. Anyway, breaking is completely wrong, even with a weaker board. I would be very tempted actually to. But it looks like it's wrong. Anyway, so those types of positions. Let's see what Bill Bertie said about this one. Breaking the anchor. What was this one? Waiting for. Bill Bertie usually gives very elegant explanations with things like this. So, actually, is the original position. Yeah, actually, he had a 5-4 to play, but I don't think that matters much. It's going to be the same answer. In fact, it's a little bit better. Fewer hits.
Right.
What he says is all the preconditions for successful anchor breaking play are here. A healthy racing lead, 24 pips after the roll, minimal shots, only 11 hits with the 2, and a weak enemy board with a blot. White's game will improve from roll to roll, so black should, or well, in this case, it's white. Black's game is going to improve from roll to roll, so white should bolt now. And we can ask the same questions if the 5-4 mattered. You know, what if you got this? And the answer is, well, now it's not so bad.
Mhm.
Again, we were looking at 5-2. This is 5-4, so 5-2 had more shots than the 5-2. And you know, what if you didn't have the blot? How much does the blot matter? And it still matters, but you know, those are all the kind of things that go into it. Let's look at it actually now. Now if it's a better board. And now, yeah, now it's wrong to break.
Mhm.
In fact, I don't see that 18. Where's the, oh, here it is. Oh, actually, that's not true. Not true. Let's look at this again. Okay, so now it's 50-50 to break or not break. Whereas when it was here, it was a clear, you know, clear break. It was clear. It's a little bit better. It's not, I would call it 0.02 error if you don't do it to be wrong, but okay. 2 more positions from Bill Roberti. This is not what I meant to do. 1 more position for Bill Roberti. Here we go. What do we think of this one? So we could run. We could hit with the 3. I'm not sure what the 6 is. You can't go for 10-4, so it's either 13-7 or 11-5. Well, what do we think?
I think 2011.
Like 2011? Why is that, Charlie?
Because the opponent's board is kind of broken up. You know, you have the 4 and the 5 are open. They can't hit you. I mean, he need double ones to hit you,
Well, yeah, or double 4s.
or double
And you-
4.
Yeah, you should leave a bandit there to pick up some of his guys also.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, so yeah, here we're up in the race and we're losing our flexibility here. Because you know, we've got these strip points. I guess we could play safely 11-8, 11-5. But the answer here is to run.
That's the best idea.
And part of the reason Bill Roberti gives is that, well, you're not under pressure here with this guy yet. Black has some jokers, double 1s, Charlie pointed out, double 1s, double 4s also is even better. Double 4s probably loses you the game.
Mhm. Mhm.
And a 10, 6-4 of double 5s. So you got what, 2, 3, 5 rolls that are jokers. That are going to cause you problems. But the advantage is that you still cover the outfield, so black still has a problem coming around. barring one of the jokers. And you've escaped a checker, and you'll have chances to escape again with another 9 or 7. And you're, with the racing lead you have, that's what you're looking to do. So it's the other plays. And the safe plays aren't bad here. Hitting and down is not bad.
Mhm.
Hitting and in. All this I think too is black. Black has a decent board. It's a 4-point board. You don't want to play with that too much, but it's the weakest 4-point board, and you have an anchor. So there's a 50% chance you'll come in right away or bet a little better than that. And then also black has no right now no attacking numbers for your back checkers, because he's got no outfield, and not having the outfielder is a real weakness. Let's look at that one. So actually, writing out is fine. 2 down and hitting is good. Hitting and in is weaker, but not bad. What's this one? The safe play is the wrong idea. You have fewer landing spots, and you'd really like to make actually a 9 or a 7-point if you could. Okay, so that is it for this chapter of Francois Tardieu's. The next chapter, which will start next time, is single checker back, playing with or against a single checker back. So those are always interesting cases. That's the only problems we have for those. Yeah, you got more problems for those. 15 at least. Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Stop here.
Good job, Gary.